Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing a character spotlight type of video. In this one, let's do a character spotlight for the ultimate hero of the zombie apocalypse, Rick. Oh man, so I definitely wanted to go ahead and do a character spotlight video for Rick here with you guys before The Walking Dead Season 9 eventually starts there in October because, of course, we know this is Rick's last season or this is Andrew Lincoln's last season playing Rick, so it can only really go two ways. He's either going to leave the show or he's going to be killed off, and if this is in fact his final season, then I think we all kind of know which one of those is more likely. So as such, I wanted to go ahead and take a look back at Rick's time in the Walking Dead series, even though we haven't seen his final half here, final 5 or 6 episodes, whatever it works out to be in the Walking Dead Season 9. We have seen so much from the character throughout the show. I mean, a lot of people view him as the show and are really questioning whether or not the show can even go on after they have to kill him off, or he has to for one reason or another leave. So with this one, I mean, how do we even do this? How do we recap Rick's time in The Walking Dead? In a lot of ways, he is The Walking Dead. He's the most important character in the series, and I'll go right out on a limb and say he's the greatest character in zombie apocalypse fiction. That's probably the one thing that a lot of the old Dead movies, were missing, is they had some great kind of little mini characters there, but they never had sort of that ultimate hero type character, archetypical hero that we got to see in The Walking Dead with Rick. So in the television series version, Andrew Lincoln's role as Rick Grimes, man, it's been a lot of fun to see him play Rick all the way through the series. Of course, the series starts off in the very first episode of Season 1, Days Gone By, with him waking up in the hospital there, meeting Morgan, the whole thing with him heading out to find his family and everything. And I mean, you can't help but get behind his motivations for everything he's doing, wanting to protect his family, wanting to protect his wife and his son, and anybody who gets in the way of that, going to lose. Through Season 1, so he meets the group, he meets Shane again, of course, and kind of everybody else at the camp there outside of Atlanta. They go through the whole first season. And he pretty quickly, I want to say, kind of takes over lead from Shane of the group as a whole. And, upon finding Lori and Carl again, and helps them survive through to the events of the CDC at the end of Season 1. Season 2, we see things play out, we see things go through, and mainly what we're looking at here is kind of a struggle for leadership of the group between Shane and Rick, with things coming finally to a knife's edge at the end of the season, as we see Rick defeat Shane or kill Shane in response to Shane attempting to attack and to kill Rick, in order for Rick to continue to protect everybody and to lead the group and to protect himself really too, as Shane kind of goes haywire here at the end of Season 2 with the whole thing with Judith and everything, and Lori and everything that's going on there. Season 3, we see things go through as a new villain enters the show. We have the governor, as well as some of the prisoners that are there at the prison. And, again, continuing on through survival horror, right, with a new villain or a new threat. You have Rick trying to protect the group as a whole, going into to save Glenn and Maggie. All the stuff that happens with Merle, the governor, Daryl, eventually the governor actually killing Merle, and then Rick and the others kind of luring in the governor's group as they attack the prison, and basically defeating them to the point where the governor kills pretty much everybody, or almost everybody, from Woodbury himself. Then we have Season 4. So first half of Season 4, we still have the governor and kind of that threat being distant or out there somewhere, as the group has their 30 days without an accident, and everything seems to be going pretty well. But instead of Rick kind of being in charge or leading the group here, we have more of a kind of a council approach, where it looks like you have important, members of the prison that kind of get together and make decisions on things, because of course Rick is not in the best mental state after losing Lori in Season 3 there. He's kind of been doing the farming with Carl and that kind of stuff. But of course, things change pretty quickly as the first half of season 4 goes through, with eventually the governor attacking the group, and Rick and the others, or some of the others, barely getting out of there with their lives. Second half of season 4, we have basically the group in disarray and eventually finding themselves again at the end of the season. But we kind of get things starting here with a possible kind of beginning to a relationship between, of course, Rick, Michonne, with Carl being involved as well too. Kind of started more in season 3 with Clear, but then of course we see that a little bit more here too, as Michonne is the one to find Carl and Rick, and they kind of travel along with each other and eventually find the others in the train cart at Terminus. Season 5 is awesome for fans of Rick. I think this is a season where we get to see the absolute most savage version of Rick. I mean, we've seen Rick do some crazy things before in terms of having to defend the group, and really, not the type of hero that's going to be able to keep his hands clean in the zombie apocalypse. He has to basically give up everything, even his moral integrity. I want to say he has to kill, for example, Thomas, leader of the prisoners in season 3 there with the machete. Of course, Shane with a knife. And in this season as well, too, even getting so bad where he has to run over a kind of a fellow officer, right, Bob, in a police car, which is just absolutely brutal this season. But also, of course, when they get the termites or the hunters there, and he machete with the red handles Gareth in absolutely brutal fashion. Eventually, of course, in this season 2, they find their way to Alexandria. They decide to kind of give it a try. And we basically have Rick kind of getting into a situation here with Peter and Jesse, and maybe possibly interested in Jesse, but of course things with that obviously did not work out, because she didn't survive on long enough afterwards, with her dying off in season 6 in No Way Out. Afterwards, though, of course, we have a relationship kind of come to a head, or things start to begin between Rick and Michonne, and they kind of figure out that they like each other maybe a little bit more than just companions here in the zombie apocalypse, so there could be something more there, and they start to kind of get together and go steady in season 6. Season 7, of course, Negan comes in and brutally killing off both Glenn and Abraham. Rick thinking that they might be able to make this work and do what they have to do under the Saviors for a while, eventually figuring out that there's no way that's going to work, and that he'll have to take a risk as well as the others in order to fight back, which of course pretty much starts, I want to say, in the second half of season 7 and carries through with all-out war into season 8. With eventually season 8 ending with Rick having lost Carl part of the way through there around the mid-season finale, which of course for him, I want to say, as a character, is probably was his motivation all the way through, was to protect first and foremost his family, which unfortunately Shane was right, he was not able to do, but then of course protect the others in the group around him, including Michonne and including all of the others as well too, and he did so in defeating the Saviors and defeating Negan and doing what he had to do, but also showing some humility in not killing Negan at the end of season 8, and instead deciding to capture him so that he can learn just how wrong his way of leading was. And that brings us pretty much up to The Walking Dead Season 9. What will we see in this first half from Rick in his last half out of the Walking Dead series? Will we see possibly him and Michonne get married or something like this? Eventually he's killed off near the halfway point of the season. How will things go? We're going to have to tune in to see, and of course we'll do reviews and give our thoughts on everything as we see through. So I'm really sad to say that Rick's journey is coming to an end this year. It's probably one of the things that, for the Walking Dead series as a whole, it's probably going to be the most challenging thing they ever do in the show, which will be to try to keep the show going after having lost Rick, and after Rick actually does end up leaving or being killed off. As such, I mean, man, it's been a great journey following the character through all these seasons, all the different changes, him starting off as just simply the good guy, learning in season 2 that you can't be the good guy anymore and expect to live, and kind of embracing the shadow, or going a little bit darker with the things he has to do in order to protect everybody, with having to kill Shane, and then all the other people that he has to, all the other villains they encounter, and people out there that he has to kind of kill and stop in order to protect him and the group. around him. So a great leader in the series, very important, obviously the most important forefront runner character for The Walking Dead, and I would say the best character, personally my favorite character, number one character for the series, and I would say the best zombie apocalypse surviving character all around, I think, or the most important zombie apocalypse hero that there is in any zombie apocalypse movie, TV series, comic book, whatever, is Rick. So we'll see what happens after he's killed off in Season 9 or ends up leaving in Season 9. I know a lot of us are still hoping that they don't have to kill him off, but we'll see. It depends on contracts and how the whole thing works out here. But definitely going to miss seeing Rick in the series, and think that if it wasn't for him and having such a great kind of lead character and having Andrew Lincoln do such an amazing job to be there as Rick and to portray Rick, that I don't think The Walking Dead would ever have become as popular as it did. And we'll have to see going forward how people respond when he's no longer there in the show. But I think we'll all miss seeing the character in the series, and we can say one way or another that the series definitely will not be the same without him afterwards. So that's it for my kind of character spotlight recap, giving my thoughts on Rick as a character in The Walking Dead, my all-time favorite character in probably, maybe any TV series ever. Yeah, I think I can say that. Any TV series ever, not just The Walking Dead, but any TV series I've ever seen. Rick is the best, in my opinion, the best character that has been shown on the small screen. So that's it for this video, guys. If you liked it, please thumb it up below. You can also share, you can favorite, and if you're new and you want to subscribe to the channel, I'd appreciate it. You can do it at the bottom left. That's it for this video. I'll see you guys again soon for another Walking Dead video. As always, this is Trev. I'm saying peace later, guys. I'll see you soon.